Hello and welcome to another episode of One Fall WrestleCast. After some technical issues, we have arrived. A lot going on this week. First of all, Bray Wyatt has passed away at the young age of 36. We're going to talk about the legacy that Bray has left behind to the professional wrestling world. Um, Also, All In at Wembley Stadium, 81,000 strong. Not to be outdone with some backstage drama. Plus, there's much more. We're going to get into it.
Welcome to the One Fall WrestleCast.
Excuse me, sir. This is a closed recording. I don't know how you got here.
I didn't realize I haven't dressed for the occasion. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Who's this guy up here in the right corner?
I can go get a different shirt and a fedora.
It's not the shirt. It's not that it's a collared affair. It's just that.
Yeah, well, I've been away
We've been missing you, sir.
I've been away. You
You
may not recognize me because I've lost some weight. I'm now a slim, trim, almost under 200 pounds.
Really? I've been under 200 pounds since I was like a senior in high school.
I'm excited, man. If I see a 1, I'm gonna get fucking pumped.
You're gonna get a if you get that.
Right.
So obviously, Derek
who is this
has
svelte young
joined the fray for the first time in a couple of weeks. And hey, bud, you know what? We're glad to have you back. All bullshit aside, we're glad that you're back.
We did miss you.
Tom and I did miss
Glad
you.
to be back.
We
I'm very
did have
happy
some
to be back.
bangers without you. You know,
We talked, and during those bangers, we did talk about how much we missed you.
There's a certain element that misses whenever it's not our normal tripod.
I keep falling over because I gotta. My shoulders get tired by the. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, Walt. Walt's shoulders get tired by the end of the show
He boy's just carrying this shit.
because I'm just like.
well, to be fair, Tom had to carry the show for. Tom had to carry the show for a good 10 minutes last week while I handled some work things. Because usually, like when work calls during the show, I just pick a fight between the two of you, and then I disappear for a couple of minutes, and I didn't really have that opportunity last week. So, as you can see, Tom and I have adorned our best Bray Wyatt impersonation in the wake of the terrible news. But you know what? We'll dive into Bray's legacy here a little bit later on. But really, what I would like to start out with is I'd like to start off with this quote. It's been interesting. I haven't really kept up with it. I didn't know a lot about it. Fans ask me about it all the time. I don't know where someone is posting this 453 days. They're shorting me one day, and that's not fair. I've got the 454 days from Howard Finkel. He was the one who told me. Does anybody have any idea who would say such a blasphemous thing?
Oh, I know.
Who's that, Tom?
He's a honky tonk man.
He's a honky tonk man. He's a honky tonk man.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's talk about.
I think they should let Gunther beat his reign by like 100 extra days.
I mean, they're gonna do that anyways. Like that's not even gonna be a thing. So like, he's trying to like sour this when it's just not possible.
Howard Finkel gave me an extra day, man. Like,
okay, I mean, you know what? Howard's probably right, but regardless, it doesn't matter, bro. Okay, because your lasting piece of positivity in the pro wrestling world is slowly dwindling away. All right, Wayne. So let's calm down. Okay. Calm down.
Look, let's be fair. Wayne milked his gimmick harder than he should have ever been allowed to milk it. He was never
His
a
little
good
list
wrestler.
of relevance is slipping away. You can see it.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Or did you just use a past tense?
Oh no, he obviously he still has the relevance of being able to go to his little five and dime, wrestling conventions and put up a little cardboard sign that says, "I'm the longest reigning intercontinental champion. Look at me."
Hey, yo, my guy.
Oh wow, look
my
at
guy.
that.
Look at my guy. He's still milking the gimmick here, Tom. Like,
That's peak male right there.
I mean,
That
he's
is
still
peak
got
performance.
look. That is dyed jet. He got out the shoe polish beforehand. His hair is blacker than mine. That's for sure. And he's got them honky tonk sideburns there. He's good. He's bad. He's cool.
He's a honky tonk man. Listen, Bob, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. We're talking about 24 hours, bro. I mean, my man's about to have a lot of 24 hours after your 24 hours.
Yeah, no, it's the fact that his legacy has stayed true as long as it has is really more a testament to how much wrestling has changed since that point in time. Because what had happened was they put that belt on Honky Tonk Man and then absolutely forgot about it. Like, absolutely forgot.
I wouldn't listen. That's unfair. So they put the belt on Honky Tonk Man because they didn't really have anything to do with it. But in order for it to remain what it was considered to be, they just trotted him out there every week to do a promo and then fucking run away from some jobber and get counted out. Like,
yeah,
he didn't really defend that title, but like,
no.
in an effort to not forget about it, they trotted his ass out there.
That's true. I don't know. He did a lot of that on like Saturday mornings too, so I watched it. I think that's really where it is in my mind, is that like we saw a lot of that. Like, he ran away from the Bushwhackers a lot too.
I mean, you would.
It made sense.
Like, if your hair looked like that and you had Luke and Butch's tongue coming at it, you would run too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
So, I mean, come on, bro. Like, come on. All right. So we didn't touch on this last week. Okay. But I feel that it's relevant to touch on it this week. So there seems to be a lot of internal belief that Edge is going to make his way to AEW at the end of September when his contract officially ends. And there has been some talk that there's fear that Edge will end up like CM Punk if he joins AEW, i.e. assertive or overbearing, possibly. I mean, I don't.
He's going to show up and realize that he works with fucking children, and he's going to say something, and we're not there yet. My bad.
We're not there yet, like at all. Like, that's like the co-main event, pal. Like, you need to pump them brakes a little bit. Okay. It's not time for the co-main event. Like my Mark
the
Henry.
60-minute time limit.
How'd you like my Mark Henry?
I did, actually.
That's good. But Derek, I mean, come on, man. Like, Edge and AEW, you hadn't been here the last couple of weeks. Like, Tom and I had a conversation offline last week because I swore that I wasn't gonna do this last week because I wanted to relish in what Edge's career was in WWE if he has finished. Do you think Edge is headed to AEW, Bob?
Okay, so first off, let me just say I can only imagine the nipple sucking you gave to Edge on his last Raw show. Okay,
I did good.
Just good. Did you? Did Tom kept you in line? That's good.
I saved it to the end. It was my match of the week. It deserved to be my match of the week. I gave him a glowing career review about my fandom of the Rated R Superstar, and then we went off the air.
Good deal. Good for you. I'm gonna have to listen to that tomorrow. Anyway, so do I think he's coming to AEW? So first off, to bluntly,
he still does that thing, Tom. Did you notice he still does that thing?
What's the thing?
It counts.
Coming to AEW. Like, he's there. You know what I mean? Like, he still does that thing.
It'll be fine. Just let him go. Let him go. Go, Derek, go.
Yes. Lack of better words, yes. I think this because he's already mentioned that, hey, I've got an offer on the table from WWE. I told them I kind of want to retire, but I kind of still want to do it price. And you've got all that sweet con money sitting over there. And you're about to have, let's not get into it because I don't want to get into trouble, but potentially another large star leaving and possibly needing some sort of replacement to juice up the roster and the ratings and the viewership. So what could be more seamless than another Attitude Era star or post Attitude Era star from WWE sliding right on in?
Ahead,
and
Tom.
Then your new favorite show gets to be on Wednesdays, Walter.
No, there's a 0% chance this is fantasy booked by the fucking AEW mark.
Is it?
Edge is not going to AEW. It's not happening. Okay. Edge said himself that he's got a contract extension. It has nothing. It's not that they didn't want to pay him, that he wants too much money. He said it himself. It came out of his mouth. It's not that he didn't want to get paid enough. He didn't want to this, that, the other. It's a matter of he doesn't know if he wants to go anymore, or he just said everything in Toronto was so perfect. He maybe wants to leave it at that. He's not sure. It's not about money to him. It's not about any of that. This is what he said with his mouth. I don't think Edge is lying to me. I don't think Edge is lying to us. I also don't think that his going to AEW will be anything better than the Hardy Boys going to AEW. What have the Hardys done in AEW? Anything? Did you guys know that the Hardys fought the Young Bucks on Dynamite a few weeks ago? Did anybody give a shit about that? No, because it didn't even pop the ratings. In fact, it was a lower rated show than even like the last two Dynamites leading up to the current the current pay-per-view that they just had. It's not happening. Edge is not going to AEW.
I think it'll fuck up his legacy if he goes to AEW.
Absolutely. It'll be a fucking disaster. What's he going to do? Bleed with John Moxley? Like, what's he going to do in AEW? What are they going to make him do in AEW? They're going to be like, all right, so listen to me. What we're going to do is we're going to dangle Jeff Hardy up here, and you're going to spear him again like you did 30 years ago. No.
Do that.
First, I don't think
they've got Sting jumping off of ladders and going through tables.
I know Jeff Hardy is that stupid to do that, and I'm sure he will, and then we'll get like that'll happen.
Yeah.
But I don't think Edge is that stupid to do that. I don't think he is. And I don't think he's going. I don't think he's going to. I think.
Well, no. They might try, but then CM Punk will probably try to fight him just for doing it.
We might see him. We might see him during WrestleMania season for one last match, or maybe not. Maybe that's it. Maybe he rides off into the sunset, and that's it because he got to finish on his own terms. And you know what? Maybe that's it. And honestly, I hope that's what happens.
That right there.
I don't think there's any positives. I think his going to AEW will be something that only taints his legacy. I don't think it enhances it. It'll be like Ric Flair going to TNA after that Shawn Michaels match. That's exactly what it'll be like. And nobody's going to convince me differently. And if it happens, that's what it's going to be like. So I hope for his sake, he doesn't do it. But look, $10 million is $10 million. If Tony Khan's just writing big checks and it's like, you know what, I could live a lot more comfortable with $10 million more dollars to do like 4 matches. That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for him, I guess, monetarily, if that's how it works out. But I think that the chances are it's probably like 98% chance that it just screws up. It screws up his legacy. There's like a 2% chance that it's just kind of mediocre and semi-cool. Like maybe he'll feud with MJF for a minute. But even that, like, just isn't really worth it. I don't think. I don't think the risk outweighs the benefit. You know what I mean?
Nah, I agree. No, especially whenever you're talking about somebody that's already a Hall of Famer that has had a second Hall of Fame run, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
I mean, maybe that's
run.
the fanboy in me, but at the same point in time, like,
well, I mean, just look. I mean, look who he feuded with when he came back: Randy Orton, Finn Balor, Sheamus. He had a big
created the Judgment Day.
Created the Judgment Day, brought in Rhea Ripley, like all of that, like yeah, his legacy, his return legacy, and all of the
he won a Royal Rumble and main event at WrestleMania, pal.
Yeah, he was
against arguably the biggest star in the entire business.
Yeah, with Roman
and
Reigns.
Derek just sits over there and shakes his smug little smug little head, like
he can't top what has already happened. Like he can't, like, unless he literally shows up, joins forces with Christian, and feuds with Adam Cole and MJF. That's like the pinnacle of what's going on in AEW right now. And even that doesn't that pales in comparison, right?
No, Edge shows up. Hear me out. Edge shows up with his own dinosaur.
I think this is what happens. Yeah, I mean, this is obviously what we were going for.
Is there an extra dinosaur? Does that honestly? If Edge showed up with his own dinosaur, and Edge didn't actually fight anybody, but he and Christian feuded with dinosaurs, I'd probably watch that. But
like fucking Godzilla versus Mothra.
Exactly. That would really be like, I think that would really be the only thing. It would have to be like, no, Edge is just he's just a manager, and we gave him his own dinosaur, and it's totally awesome. The totally awesome Edgeosaurus. That would have to be his name.
I mean, that's good shit, pal.
It's good shit, pal. But they're not going to do that because we're not booking AEW.
Is anybody? Who's booking it?
No, well, no. CM Punk's booking on Saturdays. We know this.
Oh, is he?
Saturday shows are good.
We had a full-on conversation about Collision last week, pal. That like, so I made a comment in the group chat earlier that you probably didn't understand, but I said that Tom has been carrying CM Punk's pocket for the last couple of weeks, and Tom really put the mojo on this whole Phil kind of booking Collision on Saturdays thing, and how that if he's standing at the fucking back door like this, I mean, we always complain that nobody ever tells these guys no, and it sounds like Phil's telling people no on Saturday nights. So, okay, so yeah, we've kind of come to terms with the fact that Phil's running Saturday.
It seems to be the Phil and Joe show,
and that's kind of where we're at right now with Saturday being the Phil show, right? So, just to get you back up to speed here, so we turn around and we continue to kind of dive in a little bit. I don't know, man. Like I just don't think that Edge has anything left to do, and I mean outside of chasing a payday. Which I don't necessarily think he needs to do either. I mean, he does have, royalties from Vikings. He's been in a couple movies. He's getting ready to be in Percy Jackson, which is going to be a fucking Disney phenomenon movie. If anybody's ever read,
I think it's a series actually, because I thought it was a movie too. I'm like, they already made a movie. I think it's a series.
Okay, great. So good for him.
So he's got years worth of work to do.
As long as Disney sticks with it, because Disney's kind of like Fox in that terms where they don't really stick with too many things long term. Fox has had a lot of really, really good television shows that they've produced in house that have gotten one season and been like, So there's that piece of it. I mean, and they've sold some really good shows to other networks that had good show continue to roll for many, 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 many successful seasons. I'm looking at you, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And so I don't know.
9-9 is still so fucking good.
Oh, it's hilarious.
It's so good.
I love watching reruns.
I would. It's like between that and between that and Parks and Rec and Community, and I guess Schitt's Creek. Those are like peak comedy television.
I never really got into any of those.
Parks and Rec, if you've not gotten into, is fantastic.
And I hated Andy Samberg in that Hot Rod movie the first time.
Oh, really?
I
I thought Hot Rod was hilarious. I loved it.
Then, I circled back a few years later, and I kind of appreciated a different level of haha, and it's a good movie. It's funny. So, Derek, why you look like that, bro?
That's just what he looks like, man.
I've never seen these shows or the movie.
Like, I want to punch you
watch
so
TV?
fucking
Like, what
hard.
do you do down in the holler? How do you
Like,
not just watch TV?
I
don't have TV.
Watch goddamn television, Bluey.
I don't have
What did you watch before you had children?
TV because I had TV. Now I don't have TV.
All these shows were on before you had children.
God
They're all like 10 years old.
damn it, man! Like, what is wrong with you, bro?
I don't know.
You know what else is a good show? Brickleberry was that was funny.
I didn't watch all of it.
Brickleberry's good.
I should probably.
Yeah, that's a
pick that
cartoon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
you gotta get into Brickleberry.
Yeah, all right. Mm-hmm.
And Daniel
Anywho,
Tosh
are we
is
still talking about Phil and how he's the gatekeeper now?
Yes.
No.
We're not there yet? Where
No,
are we?
I'm getting ready to transition to something else because I want to come back to Phil later.
Okay, well, let's do that.
Okay. So, hey, did you guys happen to see the WWE signed a deal with the National Football League for this upcoming season? They're going to have custom championship belts for all 32 teams in the NFL.
And a lot of them fuckers are sold out already. Yeah,
and 31 of them are on the website.
Yeah.
And Derek, do you know why there's only 31 out of 32 teams available on the WWE website for purchase?
I don't know, because Fanatics sucks.
Because Shad Khan owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. and
uh-huh.
Isn't that just peachy?
I wonder who put the kibosh on that. If it was Shad Khan or if it was, the WWE conglomerate that they have turned into.
I mean, I think based on what I've seen, that they've got it. Like, they have the licensing to the official logos, and it's just not on the website. But the rest of the teams are. So my guess is this is just a slight from WWE to kind of just be like, well, pal, this is kind of bad for business here. I mean, if you.
Well, where there's a will, there's a way, and I'm sure our friend in Pakistan from X-Man Belts would be more than happy to create one for that.
Excuse me, you just created belt maker blasphemy, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Jesus.
Okay.
It just happened.
I figured that would get you nice and heated.
I mean, for fuck's sake.
Jesus.
Pal. Like, what is wrong with this guy?
Oh, man. How dare I?
I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting little tidbit of information.
A little bit tit?
Quite a bit.
A little bit tit?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, so we got to ask the question, since we know that you are the only exclusive belt guy in here, other than Tom and I do hold the children's AEW titles. I believe he also has one.
Yeah, I have one too.
Do you?
All three of us have one. Yes, but I have the child's belt here too, right here.
All right. Well, to the question, you gonna get a Steelers one?
Yeah, probably not.
No? Are they expensive? What's the price?
I haven't even looked at them yet, pal.
I think they're $3.99.
I mean,
I think that's the number I saw. I mean, I didn't look to purchase it, but I think they're $3.99.
At that point, the $3.99 is the price of a premium WWE shop belt, and if I had $400 to spend on a wrestling belt, it would not be on a Steelers belt.
That's part of the reason I don't have any tattoos. If I had $400 for a tattoo, I already spent it on something else. Like that's really.
See, now I would definitely still spend it on.
No, I know you would. I'm just saying, me as somebody that's got like $3,000 of controllers just hanging on the walls. Yeah, I would. That's what I would do.
Controllers are cool.
I have all the cool ones though. I have all the cool ones.
I ain't mad at it.
No, I ain't mad at it at all. I'm about to get the Spider-Man one here at the end of the week.
However, Fanatics is claiming that the Jaguars belt is sold out at a $550 price tag.
Oh, they're $550. Well, I was seeing $399. They're $550. That's even a little extra rich, huh? I guess you got to pay that NFL licensing, huh?
Yeah, definitely got to pay that NFL licensing.
That's big. Nah.
Hey, so I saw today.
Too, honestly, if I'm being honest,
they're not
kind of ugly.
The design's not great, not great at all. On the flip side of things, Jordynne Grace has received a significant raise with her new Impact Wrestling contract that she signed this week.
Good, she should. She carried the fucking promotion for the last 4 years.
Do we think? Do we feel like this might be a miss or
what for her? Because she could have made more money somewhere else.
Because I feel like she could have become a bigger star elsewhere.
So yeah, I actually have a pretty significant opinion on this.
Shocking,
right? So it's very much my opinion that Jordynne Grace is maybe a little too stubborn for her own good. She's in wrestling for the art of it, and good for her. However, she wrestles as though she's an old school wrestler, and her mere presence within the women's division and Deonna Purrazzo. Let's not take anything away from Deonna Purrazzo. But her mere presence in the women's division in Impact really kind of put Impact on the map. Because can you name male Impact Wrestling stars?
Crazy Steve.
Moose.
Yes, please.
Moose. Okay, Moose is a good one.
Eric Gresham.
Gresham, I guess. Yeah, Gresham. But he's okay. He's been hamstrung since Ring of Honor. I still think of him as a Ring of Honor guy, right? Am I wrong? All right, fair. Look, he's like this tall, man. He's shorter than Derek.
Okay, but for fuck's sake.
But
he's still he's a pure in-ring wrestling talent, bro. Like
you're ruining Tom's point.
I'm getting away from the point. All right. So the point is that
because I make logical sense, I'm getting away from your point.
That's not acceptable. We don't do that here, Walter.
Hey, nobody asked you, shitbag.
So I was about to agree with you, Walter. So basically the problem is not the problem, but is that I mean she's been a big star for Impact, and she could be a big star, and she would be a huge get for AEW. She would be immediately one of their top 3 like workers on in the women's division immediately, and she would be a great opponent for literally anybody because she's a safe worker, and she's also big and strong and can just kind of not hurt people. Like she's very good at that. In WWE, she'd be fantastic as well. She would be awesome. I don't know if maybe the offers weren't there. Maybe Impact offered her more money. Clearly, she's valuable to them. So maybe they offered her more money and maybe like she's got that. But I really, really, really think she's doing herself and everybody else kind of a disservice by not jumping to a bigger promotion. I really think she is. And I really think that she'd have a lot of success. Especially if she came up through NXT and like got her promo skills in order and everything, because that's like they don't get that in Impact, right? But in NXT, it's like, oh hey, you're gonna work with Shawn Michaels, So I think that and she's still young enough. I think this is only what I think I saw. It's a 3-year deal, or is it a 2-year deal?
It's 3-year
deal. So usually Impact deals are 2 years, but so her 3-year deal. I mean, she's still young. By the time she gets out of this, she's still in her 20s. I think she's 25 now. She'll be like 28 or whatever. So she could get that big money contract again after a few more Impact Knockouts Championship title reigns or whatever. If that's what she's looking to do. But I really think that especially if they were to bring her in and put her in the fold now with NXT with the current crop of women that they have right now, I think she would she would fill a slot that they don't have right now with sort of the the big strong woman wrestler,
like a shorter Nia Jax.
Yeah, but Nia Jax is going to
shorter, better, more fit Nia Jax. Yeah, And I think
Have
that
you
you know
seen
that.
pictures of Nia on Instagram or like Twitter or anything?
Yeah, she's lost a lot of
No,
weight.
I know she's fit now. I'm just talking about her during her run. Yeah, she's in phenomenal shape right now. She's phenomenal shape right now. No slight to Nia
You know I
Jax.
like them thick girls. You know what I mean?
Don't we all, buddy? Don't we all? Anywho, yeah. No, I think Jordan Gray.
I'm up like
I
a
said,
rotisserie chicken. You know what I'm saying?
I was very.
God.
I was very hopeful that we might get a Jordan Grace run in another promotion, because Impact is like. But I guess there she's sort of the big fish in the small pond, or the big fish in the puddle. I guess we could call it a puddle.
Shit.
And so to have her, to decide to remain the big fish, I get it. From a talent standpoint, to be like, look, I'm going to run this division for the next 3 years. That makes a lot of sense if that's what you want to do, and I'm sure the money ain't bad. So it's good for her. Less good for us because she's not on just our regularly scheduled programming every week. She's on.
You turn Access TV on Thursday nights just like anybody else can, pal.
I mean, look, I end up watching it Friday mornings on YouTube. Generally, in clips.
Okay. So what are you complaining about?
I would prefer see her, on some other TV that I actually watch live. But it's fine. It's fine.
Fine.
But, good for her. Sorry, you're not going to be on TV as much, but that's okay.
Fucking pessimistic Tom has joined us this week. It must be Derek's fault. Like I've had the Prince of Positivity for the last couple weeks,
and now the Prince of Positivity.
Jesus,
except for that Phil comment that you made last week, you really caught me off guard with that one, pal. But hey, so how about Grayson Waller has just recently said on the old X machine that his dream of joining WWE has become a nightmare. Grayson Waller puts out a tweet, and it says, "When I was living in Australia, I always dreamed of how amazing it would be to travel to the U.S. and wrestle. Then this weekend, WWE sent me to Alabama, and I realized that dream is actually a nightmare."
Oh, that's good heel. That's just good heel work right there, buddy.
I think that's cheap heat, pal. That's cheap heat.
Look, I think Grayson Waller's kind of cheap heat, if I'm being honest. If I'm being fair, I don't think that I don't think his heel work is up to snuff yet. But I'm not a fan yet. I'm willing. He's got the tools. He's a tall guy. He's in shape. He can work in the ring. He can talk. I just don't think they found the right narrative for him yet. And I think, we're in the midst of the cheap heat Grayson Waller era. And I think we're going to look back on this as bullshit, kind of amateur hour stuff. But I think he'll get there. He just this ain't it. So I agree.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I mean,
look, Derek. Nobody can hear facial expressions, so you need to say words.
He doesn't do anything. He does nothing to move the needle one way or the other for me. He's just the way they present him is the most ridiculous. Like, you genuinely want me to believe that there are these. What the fuck? That's nice. That there are. We are on the air, sir. Anyway, that there's all these tweets just showering praise. I mean, it's just stupid. This is dumb. This is dumb. This is not how you get heels over. He's a goofy bastard, and no. I mean, basically, you guys have covered all the major bases, but he sucks. He's not doing anything for me.
You say he's a goofy bastard?
Yes.
Takes one to know one, doesn't it, pal?
His facial expressions are worse than mine. Let's go with that. I mean, yeah, I said everything.
Yeah, because this is your facial expression.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. He's seen his own face.
Open your eyes a little more, bud.
Nobody can even tell what my eyes are doing because of the glare off the screen.
Yeah, I got my new glasses today, and I decided not to wear them because I knew I wasn't going to end up wearing them anyway because the
Thank
show.
you. Okay.
Hey, so there's been this thing circulating the old interwebs this week that I thought was kind of interesting. It's something that I know is going to hit very near and dear to our hearts here at One Fall WrestleCast. Is one of these folks is very much on our Mount Rushmore, and that's that Roman Reigns is a better storyteller than The Rock. Now, that was said on Oh You Didn't Know by the legendary Brian James, the Road Dogg.
Well, to be fair, the Road Dogg is currently employed by WWE and Triple H, and The Rock
Here we go.
is not.
Can I read? Let me
up.
read the quote because I might have misquoted this. I watch the storytelling Roman does visually with facials. It just makes me think, man, Roman's really like, I want to slap him sometimes. You know what I mean? I just want to slap him and go, you ain't as cool as you think you are. You know what I mean? That works. That to me, he's doing his job. I don't know. It's incredible right now. I'm not dogging, and The Rock's a great actor. Look, one of my favorite movies is Central Intelligence.
No.
During this, what a character Reigns has been, and I just like his family member before him kind of carrying the company, you know what I mean?
Well, you know what I mean. He said it right in the answer. He's works for the company. He's carrying the company. He's carrying the company baggage. That's all it is. It's obvious. I would like to sit down right here, face to face, closed room, won't leave this room. What do you really think, Brian James? Because I don't believe that shit for a minute.
See, I kind of do. So, and hear me out on this, because wrestling's changed a lot, right? It was way over the top and kind of like very mid-budget 90s action movie in the 90s. Wrestling has become more of a higher budget drama, really, as far as the Roman Reigns angle and the top tier stuff is concerned on WWE. That being said, I think that it requires a more nuance and finesse, especially in the HD era. You know, Rock's expressions, his selling, everything had to be bigger and over the top. You got to get the people in the cheap seats, and you got to see the people on the 24-inch scan line TVs. Got to be able to see your facial expression of, now I could watch this shit in 4K and HDR and everything, so I can see every eyebrow and every nose hair and every eye squint and everything. So I just think it takes a different level of finesse now, and I think that while The Rock was that sort of big over the top character, that almost cartoon character, if you will, that action figure, larger than life. Roman Reigns is sort of the kind of scaled down. Kayfabe is dead. Now we have to do some serious business, kind of character, and I think that they both played their roles really well. But I think that present day, Roman Reigns is telling better stories than The Rock ever told. The Rock stories were very surface level. I'm gonna make fun of you jabroni, you Rudy Poo candy ass kind of stuff. Roman's not that guy. Like it's like a higher level of like cerebral. It's almost like kind of like a Triple H, and then sort of what we sort of spiraled off on, like you think of like what John Cena did, what CM Punk did, and all that stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna go tuck the kids in, so you guys talk amongst yourselves about what I just said.
You can leave me here with this fucker. Hi,
bud.
Proceed, sir. I'm wonderful. I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
It's raining really hard here. But
I'm glad you could join us. I'm super.
It's much better than sleeping on the floor.
Yeah,
it's good to be here. Yeah. It's nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I was doing that thing where like you guys were talking, and I was looking for the next thing that we needed to talk about, and I didn't hear a
Yeah.
fucking word Tom just said.
Yeah, I don't really. I was trying to figure out because I was going to make a point about if I was thinking that Central Intelligence was probably a WWE production or at least in some way affiliated.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
It was not.
But-
Yeah, nope. So I was trying to do that to hammer my point home, and unfortunately,
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. That's good. So,
yeah. So
I mean,
where do you want to go?
you know what? Here's the thing, though, right? And I think to Tom's point, wrestling has changed a lot, and I don't necessarily know that you can. It comes back to this the conversation Tom and I had last week or 2 weeks ago, about the Michael Jordan LeBron James comparison. It's really hard to compare the two of them because like they're goats in their own era, right? Like
I'll
if
give you that, yeah.
you look at what The Rock has accomplished, and in his time during the Attitude Era and all things Rocky Maivia, right? Like as opposed to the things that Roman Reigns has accomplished, their GOAT status in their era. And Tom, I was just saying that this circles back to the conversation that we had about LeBron James and Michael Jordan a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, we did
Talking about something similar as far as eras between pro wrestling, and I think that it's hard to say that one is better than the other because it's just not a fair comparison because the game has changed and the players have changed and to say that one is better than the other just isn't fair. And I truly believe that both of them have graced our eye holes with some amazing television. And
I mean, they both maybe turn the TV on. So at the end of the day.
And I really think that that's the long and the short of it. So I'm going to just kind of go ahead and take the high road here and just kind of say, hey, we're not going to, we can't have this conversation. It's just not. That's fair. It's just not what it is,
That's fair. I wouldn't have had it if the Road Dogg didn't bring it up.
No, that's fair. I mean, but it was there to talk about. So let's talk about it. So, obviously we've been building up to this and AEW has celebrated what many are calling their largest success as a company yesterday at All In with Wembley, outside of the original All In whenever, but that was a Ring of Honor thing, but that's kind of what sparked AEW as a whole. But All In Wembley, 81,000 fans.
81,000 paid attendance too, which is a big deal.
Yes. They're making claim that it's the largest paid gate in wrestling history or the most grossing money show in professional wrestling history. I don't know. I don't want to get into the semantics. I'm not trying to flop my WWE dick on the table next to my AEW dick. Like, I'm just not here for that. I don't care about attendance rates. I don't care about fucking buy rates and dollar shows. I leave that up to Tom, right? For me, what I care about is the quality of the show. Now, full disclosure, I have not seen All In yet. I was a little under the weather yesterday. I had to make a decision if I wanted to try to sleep it off or if I wanted to tough through and I wanted to watch some AEW. I chose to sleep it off, and I've not watched All In yet. By all counts, everything I've read, you guys chattering back and forth, it was a pretty goddamn good show.
It dragged in the middle, but
as they all do.
As they all do. It dragged in the middle, but it was otherwise a very good show.
And there was a few little happenings that happened backstage and at the post-fight presser, and in the stands. So we're gonna just go ahead and we're gonna roll into Derek's opinion of All In its entirety as a show, what he liked, what he didn't like, and then Tom, we're going to give you the same courtesy. Okay, and then I'm going to get into the backstage stuff because that's what I know, because that's what I paid attention to. So Derek, as the tippy top AEW #1 fan in this room, what you think about All In, bud?
But I think so let me start off by saying I actually watched the original All In that morning and then finished up by watching the new All In. So I would have, kind of like a baseline of like, oh yeah, this is what happened. I remember, and to kind of see how the product has grown over the last 4 to 5 years. And I have to say that overall it was exceptional, fellas. Honestly, I think we got a lot of good storytelling. What surprised me, biggest surprise for me, I don't want to give away any. I mean, I guess we're going to give away finishes. Fuck it. You should have watched it by now. I did not see FTR coming out with those tag team belts. I thought for sure 100% Young Bucks are going to go away with this. They're going to, make a big deal because they're the Dave Meltzer babies. And, we got our family here. We got to wear EVPs. We got to blah, blah, blah. But
and not to mention the scandal not to mention the scandal that is just hanging over FTR's head right now.
That's true. That is true.
You would think that Cocaine Tony would want to get out from underneath of that as quickly as possible.
Well, and it was kind of a disappointing.
Well, you said it last week. You joined the Bang Bang.
I don't want to use the word boring, but it wasn't kind of, maybe I put it too high on a pedestal and then I didn't get the results I was expecting. But I kind of do wonder if that was a lingering reason as to, maybe Dex's head isn't completely in the game.
Cash.
Sorry. Thank you.
Cash.
But I mean, for a 3 to 4 hour pay-per-view, plus, your 1 to 2 hour pre-show, overall, I was very happy with it. Obviously, there was a couple, I'm going to go take a piss breaks. I did not see the Saraya thing. Saraya, I'm not sure. I'm sorry. Correct me where that should be. But did not see that coming. That is awesome that she...
Nah, bro, I saw that fucking from a mile away.
Really?
I actually did call that, too. Yeah.
Nice. Well, good job.
I mean, what better place for her to win the AEW World Championship than in front of her hometown?
This is true. So
all right, Derek, wrap it up because I want to rapid fire these.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to the main event here in a bit because that was the best fucking main event I have seen in quite a while. The storytelling on that was amazing. And go Tom.
All right. So starting with 0 hour, FTW Championship.
That's not fair, Tom.
What?
You just bullied Derek. I tried to give him he's not been on the show in like 7 fucking months. And I tried to give him like 3 minutes and you just bullied him.
I feel bullied. I feel it deep in my soul.
You should feel bullied. All right, the 0 hour FTW Championship, Hook versus Jack Perry. I thought the match was okay. A little too much blood and stuff to start it off. I felt like they were stepping on toes. Clearly, somebody else did as well. I didn't find out about that until after I'd watched the show. So that was that. Ring of Honor World Tag Championship, Adam Cole and MJF versus Aussie Open. MJF was the star of this match. I think Aussie Open sucks and they're stupid, but it's fine. MJF and Adam Cole carried him. It was good. It was good regardless. Chris Jericho versus Will Ospreay was disappointing. I thought it would have been better than it was. It was short. It wasn't as good as I had hoped for. Kenny Omega, Adam Page, and Kota Ibushi versus Jay White, Juice Robinson, and Konosuke Takeshita had Jin and Juice not been the victors in this match. I would have disliked it a lot more, but it was good for what it was. It was better than Jericho versus Ospreay and definitely picked up. Coffin match, Sting and Darby Allin.
Hey, are you going to talk about the Fozzy thing?
Okay,
he did exactly what we said he was going to do.
Yeah. He sang himself to the ring. That's why I glassed over it because we called it last week.
It was literally the most cringy thing imaginable. I'm sorry.
I mean, it was the most Chris Jericho thing ever. It was cringy and it was Chris Jericho and
it was full of fucking ego. Full of ego.
It's hard to be like, oh, can you believe it? It's like we fucking said he was going to do it and then he did it and it's whatever. Anyway, coffin match. This felt thrown together, but it was good. I didn't dislike it at all. It was predictable as hell, but whatever. It was fine. Stadium Stampede. This was hot fucking diarrhea. That match with that spot with the skewers. That's the dumbest spot. That's the dumbest spot in wrestling.
Why can't you just enjoy wrestling, Tom?
No,
Why?
It was garbage.
You have to shit all over anything that is not the fucking
I'm
WrestleMania
sure 30. This is a match for the people in the arena. I'm sure the people in the arena thought this was awesome, but everybody watching on television thought this was the dumbest shit they'd ever seen in their lives because they're right. But that's fine. It was what it was. you know what? You want to pop the people in the arena. You want to let Jon Moxley on his victory lap because he saved the company last summer. That's what this was. And, you know what? So that's all I'm gonna say about it. Real World Championship, CM Punk versus Samoa Joe. Loved it. Loved every second of it. Fantastic match. Joe hit all the spots. CM Punk hit all the spots. Joe actually was in control most of this match, although Punk comes out on top as I thought he probably would. But I really like this as the blow off to sort of their feud that I've really been enjoying on Saturdays. So I no complaints here. Loved that. It really took that bad taste out of my mouth from the Stadium Stampede and got me back into this show. World Women's Championship.
Yeah, didn't you like the Stadium Stampede?
I love the Stadium Stampede. I always do. I look forward to it every year or every pay-per-view whenever they do it. I think it's fun. I think it's also kind of funny. I just want to point out now that Tom has finally stopped yapping his gums over here, that I think it's really cute that you complain about the blood, but then when your sweetheart CM Punk has his blade job from under the announce table, that's just glossed over and it's all fine.
That was a great spot. Joe caught him and then smashed him into the table. That was awesome.
It's fine.
I
don't want to put anything bad on your baby boy.
The table. Smashed. It was great. Whatever. Yep. Fuck you. You don't know what wrestling is. I don't even know what you're doing. Anyway, Sheeta versus Britt Baker.
I feel accomplished right now.
Toni Storm. I called Saraya winning this a mile away, but I actually did enjoy this match, so I don't really have any complaints. I liked the moment at the end with she was there with her family at the end there after she won. I thought that was great. I like.
What do you think about Mercedes Moné being in the crowd for this?
If they're going to let them feud, that's great. If that was just a tease, and that's not going to happen at all, then fuck Tony Khan.
So Tony Khan had made a comment about Mercedes being there. Said, I just really wanted her to be at the show. Wanted her to get a feel for the crowd and for what we do. And somebody had commented on there, what you're going to get is a feel for if when you don't put the belt on her, or if you do, and then you try to take it off of her, she's just going to take her ball and go home.
Yeah.
So I mean, do we feel that Mercedes Moné is going to eventually wind up in AEW despite all of her work in Japan? Do you think it's time for her to come back to the States?
I mean, I think after what Tony said, I think it's already a done deal. I think it's already happening. I just think the fact that she's injured is why it hasn't happened yet.
Agreed.
But there's clearly a timeline for her return, and I think it's about to come. Whether or not it'll be any good, honestly, with AEW is kind of a crapshoot at this point.
Yeah, but I mean, with Saraya holding the belt now, I think that may give a little bit of stability to the women's division, quite possibly, hopefully.
I mean, only if Saraya. Likely, what's going to happen is Saraya needs to have a feud with somebody. My thought was that like Tony was going to get in her face about it after it happened. Like I kind of thought that was what was going to happen, because Toni Storm has been cutting these promos, particularly on Saturdays.
She's been phenomenal on Saturdays.
They've been like she's just been cutting good promo after good promo after good promo, and so in my mind, that's the first feud is them sort of turning on each other within the Outcasts.
So you're saying no more NWO DX?
It really seems like too big of a ripoff to just let it keep going, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's probably
because it's women this time. So it's okay.
But also that's a good first feud for Saraya, especially if Sasha Banks isn't ready to come in and do that. You know what I mean? Like if Sasha needs another 2 months, Saraya and Tony can totally fight over the belt.
Mercedes.
If Mercedes needs another 2 months.
How dare you call her by her slave name?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Really? Oh, Chad.
The co-hosts of One Fall WrestleCast do not endorse the comments made by
I don't give a fuck. Nobody fucking watches this shit anyways.
That's not true. We had 50 views last week.
We do.
Derek's back now. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, we have been gaining some fucking momentum. You know what? I mean, I'm just saying.
And I'm here to shit all over it.
Yeah, guaranteed with your fucking shitty video quality over there. Anyways, Tom, go ahead. Continue on your rapid fires.
All right,
I
so
have
rapid
things that I'm going to
firing
continue
as
to jab
everybody
at.
keeps jamming up my fucking rapid fire machine gun. Speaking of machine guns, AEW World Tag Team Champions FTR versus the Young Bucks.
The greatest tag team in the history of AEW.
So I actually have a funny story about this one. As it was going on, a friend of mine, she messaged me and she says, "So I'm watching this FTR versus Young Bucks match at my brother's house, or I'm watching this FTR. It's not her brother's house. I'm watching this FTR versus Young Bucks match. Why are the Young Bucks allowed to stay in the ring so long?" I said, "Oh."
Was Rick Knox the referee?
Rick Knox was the referee. I was, you've stumbled over the AEW plot hole there, which is that the Young Bucks have special set up spots that they have to get in. They're choreographed, and they take longer than the 8 seconds that you're supposed to be in the ring. So AEW just lets it happen because the rules don't mean anything when the Young Bucks are in the ring. And she goes, "Oh, yeah, that's kind of annoying." Anyway, that's about the thing. It was a good match. It really was. Obviously, these guys know what they're doing. They know how to work together. I'm not the biggest fan of the Young Bucks and their antics, but FTR manages to bring fantastic matches out of them every time they meet. So, and this was no exception. This was probably the best of their trilogy, in my opinion. Now that I've seen it. This was, like I said, the best of their trilogy, and the fact that FTR came out on top, I think it was the right decision, and it was a great match otherwise. So good for them. And now this gets us to, it's time for the main event. You love it. Adam Cole versus MJF. So, I thought this was tremendous. I thought this was great the whole time. I didn't think there wasn't going to be interference. Clearly there was. Roddy came out and, there was this and that. I'm thinking...
I'm your best friend, damn it.
Yeah, it seemed to me that Roddy cost Adam Cole that match. And I think
it was a double pin.
Huh?
It was a double pin.
Right, but like I said, I think the ref was. It seemed to me that Roddy cost him that match. That's all I'm saying. So no, but I thought it was great. I thought the ending was great. I think that this is really the only thing going on Wednesday that's worth watching on Wednesday. So the fact that it's going to continue on
friendship,
right, it is only good for the Wednesday night show because this will make me continue. Because honestly, had this ended on Wednesday and they broke the two of them up and it was no longer Adam Cole and MJF together, maybe one of them went to like Saturday or something.
Right, but they're the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions.
Right. Well, I mean, they got to do the Ring of Honor stuff then now too. Look, I think that this really just kind of adds a level of intrigue to at least that part of the storyline that's happening on Wednesday, which is really the only storyline on Wednesday. There really isn't anything else going on. It's just the Circle of Friendship there on Wednesday, and everything else is just sort of random thrown together bullshit. So this will keep me invested on Wednesday. So and the match was great. Clearly, these two guys are the best workers in AEW at the moment. They are the top guys considering they both started and ended the show. Look, I'm not wrong, man. They had a match on the pre-show that they won, and then they were also the main event. Like,
it doesn't make MJF the best worker in the room. Like, I can think of 3 people that have better work
Adam
rate.
Cole one of them?
Yes, Adam Cole's one of them.
Okay, well, he was in the main event,
but I mean, MJF has made his living as the type of dude that doesn't work. So
right, but he worked twice. It was like a special.
Okay. That doesn't mean he's a great worker.
It was like they brought us filet in the first course, and then surprise, the main event also filet.
Yeah, but that's irresponsible what you just said. Like, I just want you to know that.
I know. That's why I said it.
Irresponsible.
I know. That's why I said it.
I'll allow you a pass. Please continue.
No, and that was it. That was the show. I thought the show was good. like I said, it fell off in the middle for me. The Stadium Stampede, the coffin match, I didn't really give a shit. It was fine, but whatever. But everything else I thought was pretty good. No, that's not true. Kenny Omega, the rest of the Elite versus. I mean, I like who won, but I mean, I just wasn't into it. I just didn't care enough.
You can't, because you can't help yourself. That's why you weren't.
And Jericho versus Ospreay. Okay, so it started slow, but then got better and better as we finished up here. Because yeah, it really did. It started
because
slow.
He was still riding his ego high, from singing himself to the ring, because he got to appear twice in the same time frame at the same show as the same person playing two different characters.
Mm-hmm. He really did. You're absolutely right. I mean, I don't have
the ego high was just out there.
That was the
started slow because he was probably tired from playing Rockstar Chris Jericho for a few minutes, and then slowly had to walk down to the ring so that he could catch his fucking breath.
Yeah, he looked a little gassed, if I'm being honest. Him and Jericho's not the spring chicken he used to be. It's hard to be a rock star and a pro wrestler in the same night, right? Or a sports entertainer. I'm sorry. A rock star and a sports entertainer.
We're past that now. He's on to a new gimmick. He's in the Don Callis family.
That's right.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Just not this week. Just not today. Just not yesterday, because he was beautiful on the inside.
Yeah, he joined the Don Callis family like 2 Wednesdays ago.
Like a week or two ago, yeah.
No, but he wanted to join, and then he had the picture made, and then he was pissed at Don Callis.
It's gonna be a thing. Just let it go. It's fine. It's dumb.
Okay.
It's still a thing.
How about the famous press conference? Can we talk about the famous press conference, and then we'll get to our friend Phil?
Go ahead. Why don't we talk about the famous press conference?
So first of all, Orange Cassidy fucking pulled a CM Punk. Did anybody else see this? Called out Tony Khan fucking sitting right next to him that he didn't have the international championship match on the International Super Show.
He did. And then he vowed to defend it on Wednesday.
And the look on Tony Khan,
he was going to defend it on Wednesday was it actually threw me off. But now that you say that, I'm like, oh shit, was that
the look on Tony Khan's face and the still is gold.
Is it?
No, it's more like this.
Like he's Sam Eagle. Spill.
He looks like he's on, because he's in a different time zone. He's on the other side of the world. He looks like he's in reverse cocaine stage, right? So he looks like this is like normal Tony before Tony fucking does the line, and then stays up all night, in US time, right? And so this is like normal business Tony, I think, right here, in London all week, and then at late hours, and then during the day we probably got cocaine Tony.
So during like the daytime, for the
important
events,
during the important stuff.
Yeah, he was
like booking a show, producing a show.
Yeah, makes sense. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I agree with your assessment.
I'm just saying. But I think Orange Cassidy's right, though. Good for him.
But I mean, overall, I thought it was a good show.
Why don't we say these things in private?
I mean, it wasn't the world beater that I think that they said it was. That they said it, that they touted it out to be. I mean, I think it was a good show.
Well, they're coming back next year.
Yeah, I don't like that call.
I don't know that I do either, but it's one of those.
This isn't something we do every year. It doesn't make it special then.
They're in the midst of fucking around and maybe finding out. So I guess we're gonna find out.
Yeah, because what's to say that London's not on the top 3 cities of WrestleMania, and Then they're really gonna fuck around and find out, huh?
Right?
What if Triple H is just so goddamn spiteful because of NXT? He's like, he goes to fucking Endeavor and he's like, listen, I got an idea. Let's build a stadium just for WrestleMania.
100,000 butts in seats.
And then the UFC can just use it at will, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
A modern day Coliseum. I mean, I'm in. You think they could build an entire ass stadium? WWE could build an entire stadium in 6 months?
Yeah. I don't know that it would be a good stadium, but
I mean they do it for the Olympics all the time. I mean,
that's true.
Yeah,
No,
I
you're
don't
right.
know how many 5-star Yelp reviews or whatever that would be that the Olympic amenities have gotten from the athletes, though.
Well, I mean, but I mean, if you're near London, though, they can house that.
We just have it like
of...
Buckingham Palace. Like this one goes out to the Queen,
who's been dead for 6 months. Come on.
By then, it'll be a year and 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be long. Should be very cold in the ground by then.
I do think that All In has been the catalyst, right, for AEW to move to a more frequent pay-per-view model. And I don't necessarily know how that's going to work for AEW at this point, right? Like the appetite's clearly there, and maybe it becomes one of those things like Raw and SmackDown during the original heyday of the brand split, when Payback was a SmackDown exclusive event, and fucking Eat My Lunch was a fucking Monday Night Raw event, and Where's the Toilet Paper was a SmackDown event. Do you know what I'm saying? Like maybe we fall into something like that, which I think would make sense, but they're going to definitely have to work on the length of their shows if they want to captivate an audience monthly, with a $60 price tag. Now, I think a $60 price tag quarterly and then add it in, this show or that show, and maybe do 6 events a year. I think that they can definitely own that $60 price tag. The UFC does it monthly for the most part. I mean, there's got to be there's a certain level of success to that. But is the appetite for the AEW experience sitting at home $60 a month worthy? I just don't know that it is. And I think that they're going to have to definitely look at their pay-per-view model moving forward if they want to go to monthly events and have their 4 tentpole events.
So I actually was talking to my other friends that listen that watch wrestling here a couple hours ago. AEW really needs to figure out this pay-per. Derek, you and I talked about this before we even went live. They need to figure out this pay-per-view shit because, this $60 4 times a year. Okay, I guess people will pay for that, but if you want to go monthly, but if you're gonna go monthly, one, nobody's gonna pay $60 every month just to watch your one semi-okay wrestling show. 2, you're also gonna create fatigue in this. So either you'll have the 4 tentpole events that'll do slightly less than they have been doing because of said fatigue. And then you'll have these other events that'll be 5,000 buys, 10,000 buys, maybe even 50,000 buys, whatever. But you'll have these low selling events, and then it'll just cut off from your other events. They really need to figure out that subscription model and get hey, except for All In, All Out, Double or Nothing. What's the other one?
Revolution.
Except for these 4, all of these will be streaming on Hulu Live or something like that, or whatever. Find a service. Find a streaming service. Paramount.
They have one with Disney, or not Disney, Discovery Plus.
Max.
I mean, that's owned by Warner Brothers.
No, Discovery is owned by Disney.
I know.
Yeah, Max, exactly. Put it on HBO. Hey, or all. If you subscribe to HBO, we put on, put one of the tent poles on HBO and then have only three $60 per month, something like that. They really need to figure this out, though, especially if they want to do one a month. Hell, if they want to do one every other month, like they got to figure this out as far as streaming services are concerned. And because if they're not, I mean, they're going to have some just, failures as far as pay-per-views are concerned. And it's going to be.
And I don't know that financially they're prepared for those failures, right? Like I've recently I've recently seen that like they're boasting that their video game has sold like 100 million copies. I don't even see how that's possible.
Nothing is sold. Even Grand Theft Auto 5 is sold.
I might have misread that. Maybe it was 1 million. I don't know. Regardless, I feel like this has become a thing with Tony Khan because he is a private company. He owns a private company. He can kind of just inflate his numbers however he sees fit. I mean, WWE's been accused of doing the same thing back in the public days. I mean, this week alone, WrestleMania 3 has been hotly contested at the 93,000 mark that we've been led to believe and love our entire lives, right? So I guess reporting in as a private company could be a little bit jaded. We'll go with, as opposed to being a public company where, shareholders and things and physical actual doll hairs. I don't know. I'm not a business guy. I mean, I am, but I'm not. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm not really sure about all of that stuff, but as a casual observer, a wrestling fan, true, right? I've got to feel like going to a monthly pay-per-view model at this stage in the game for AEW is not a wise decision.
Well,
not if
we're
and I think they're going to find that out next week.
Why do you say that? Why next week?
Because All Out's next week.
Oh, I got to buy it again. I was thinking this was just like a named television event.
So we get the WWE, we get Payback on Saturday and then All Out's on Sunday.
All right. Well, here's where I was going to go with this. I totally get what you guys are saying, and I completely agree. But I think another option that we need to look at if we're not going to go with the streaming service.
Also the Payback card is like the All Out card is like a Luchasaurus match.
Yes.
You gonna pay $60 to watch Luchasaurus? That's the whole card.
That's what I'm saying is why don't we just do like an in your house type of scenario where the four
because
temples,
we're not running the event, pal,
no.
And it's gonna be a dog. It's gonna be dog. Like they're gonna shoot themselves in the foot before this even gets off the ground. Really.
If you own 50% of the $60 cost of $30 a show, it's gonna be less dog shit because you're gonna have less to compare it to. It's not gonna feel like you've been ripped off. Is what I'm trying to say.
Even at $30, it's a ripoff.
Even if we get to Sunday, if we get to Sunday and that card has come to shape a little bit more than the TNT title match, okay, and it's got a $30 price tag on it, I might be inclined to push buy, okay. Full disclosure, I've spent worse money on worse things in my life than $100 on fucking 2 AEW pay-per-views in a 2-week span, okay. But I'm already going to get Payback. Fuck, I might even go to Payback at this point. It's become such a good fucking card. This is where we're at, right? Like, Tony Khan has done this because he went from being the first show on Labor Day weekend to being the third show on Labor Day weekend. And those words came out of his own mouth last year when WWE ran Payback or whatever the fuck it was on Saturday.
I think it was Payback last year.
So, and they did a NXT fucking Stand and Deliver or some shit.
Yeah, they did.
Which did big business because it was a fucking good show.
Yeah, it really was.
So maybe this was his answer to that because now he's gonna not have All Out next year. Maybe it was already scheduled and it was already on the books, and he was pot committed to this, right? Maybe that's why we're gonna get such a shit show. But at the same point in time, we've lost some valuable names this week, possibly due to suspension because of more fucking backstage shenanigans. So I don't know if you noticed, but during Jungle Boy Jack Perry's fucking FTW championship, which was like a hardcore match, if I'm not mistaken, of some sort.
Yeah,
yeah. He made a comment to the camera about using real glass, which brings real life backstage drama to fucking to the television audience, right? So I guess allegedly what had happened was, as Punk's getting ready to walk out to the ring to defend his fake fucking championship against Samoa Joe, him and Jack Perry had a physical altercation, which ended up getting Jungle Boy sent the fuck home. So Jungle Boy gets sent home. Phil gets to walk the fucking ramp, fucking put on a decent match with Samoa Joe. What the fuck? How many more instances is Phil going to cause problems, and we're just going to continue to just let him operate in AEW?
So I alluded to this earlier, but I think that Phil sees himself as sort of a locker room leader. He sees himself as the Undertaker would have been when he joined WWE.
So he sees himself as a locker room leader of a fucking locker room that doesn't want to be led by him.
Not only a locker room that doesn't want to be led by him, but has zero respect for him.
That
now,
Exactly.
to that point, he doesn't care about that, and mostly because he's a narcissist. He's kind of a dickhead. But now, to jump onto Phil's side, somebody needs to be that guy.
Oh yeah, you got to grab Phil's pocketbook,
because these guys are not used to anybody ever telling them no, and now there's somebody there who, let's be fair, is a bigger draw, a big commodity, and can book a show relatively decently. Looking at you, AEW Collision on Saturdays, and just kind of get butts in seats and eyeballs on TV, and is worth more to the company. So he tells Jack Perry, no real glass. Don't do that. It's stupid. That's what he told him. There's plenty that can go wrong with that. Tons, in fact. Thankfully, nothing went wrong, but still, plenty that could have. Tons that went wrong. So Jack Perry does it anyway. If that was WWE, they'd come back to a fuming Vince McMahon who's throwing things and screaming in their face. You think somebody's going to hit Vince McMahon? Especially when
Brock Lesnar tried with the championship belt.
Huh?
Brock Lesnar tried with the championship belt.
So if you're not Brock Lesnar, you're not going to try to hit Vince McMahon. Certainly not with your fists. But anyway, so there's an altercation, and from what I understand, Punk took care of business. I understand that they don't like him, they don't respect him. I feel like that's been the way it's been in every locker room. You've heard Chris Jericho talk about this on his podcast as well about Punk, sort of right after that brawl out happened last year. But at the same time, we've been saying like for years, somebody needs to be able to tell these guys no. And there's nobody back there. Well, there's a guy that showed up that started telling these guys no, and now they're getting in his face wanting to fight him. So, I don't know whose side to take. Do I think that CM Punk is kind of probably a dickhead, probably a jerk, probably not the right guy to do that? Yeah, but at the same time, who else is going to do it? Nobody else is doing it. Nobody has done it. And nobody can argue that the product of AEW is markedly better when CM Punk is performing on that roster. It's just the argument is not there to be made. So I'm with Punk on this. I think he did the right thing. I think Jack Perry did the wrong thing. I think Punk's probably still a jerk, but at the same time, I think a lot of these guys need to fall in line and do what's best for business.
So we're going to continue to defend Phil creating a hostile work environment.
Yeah, I think I am, especially because the work environment needs some sort of discipline that it's not getting. Do I think he's creating?
Who is this guy?
Huh?
Who are you?
There is just no discipline, and I don't think that I think that's a problem from the beginning. Really, is that it was just a very loosey-goosey thing in the beginning. and it was never reined in ever. And now Phil's trying to rein it in, and he's getting pushback, which is, I mean, that's just what happened. That's how these things work. I mean, I've been you clearly manage things. I've been a manager. That's just how things work, man. If it's hasn't been reined in, you got to rein it in. And when you're reining it in, you're going to get a little bit of pushback. There's going to be some friction. And I think that's a lot of what's been happening. And I think Phil's been trying to rein things in because somebody needs to, and he's been getting some friction. He's been getting some pushback because we are now, 3.5 years into this, and there's been none of that. There's been no reining anything in. Yeah, do whatever you want. Stick the skewers in your head so that it goes. I mean, clearly nobody's going to tell Jericho no. Nobody's going to tell Moxley no. But, the undercard guys, Jack Perry, guys like that, yeah, they're going to need to be told no, and they're going to need to figure out how to fall in line because they're not main event guys. And now they need to listen. It is what it is.
All right, Tom, let me tell you how that argument makes absolutely no sense in the world of CM Punk.
Okay, no sense. It doesn't make sense because you didn't listen. You weren't listening, but that's
no. I listened to the entire thing, but the point that you're missing is that CM Punk has literally turned into everything that he stood against his entire young career. If you would have told him whenever he came into Ring of Honor as
that's why it makes no sense because he's sold out
in
corporate Punk now and not. No. Personality.
I've got plenty more to go. No one, he would have stood up to that and said, fuck off. He's given interviews saying that these old guys, they need to just give it up. They need to get out of our way because we got something new going on and we want to do something different. And that's the old way of thinking. And now we want to do this new way of thinking. Well, guess what, bud? You're the one with gray hair now. So you come here to this company that has been, as you've said, under its own management style for X amount of years, and instantly you want to nominate yourself locker room leader. I'm sorry, did I miss the fucking vote last week? Because I didn't see that on the match card. Yeah, no, you don't get to just come in here and start bossing around grown men whenever Tony Khan hired all of us.
Children.
Tony is my boss. CM Punk is not my boss. CM Punk might think he's trying to save me from injury or, trying to help me. April, help these people. Tell them I'm the Messiah.
Wait a minute.
Please do it.
You don't get to miss 6 shows and then step on my gimmick, okay?
I'm sorry. But what I'm hoping that you're picking up what I'm putting down here, that, you don't need to just come in here, step on all these toes, act like you've been, the anti-authority Punk all these years, and now you want to act like, oh, I'm just trying to help these young guys to get over because they don't know how to get over, and I'm just trying to save them. Well, you know what? MJF said it in the beginning of the media scrum that, you know what? We might not all like each other, but we're a ragtag group of misfits, and we've been doing it our way this entire time, and it's been working. And he didn't go as far as saying we don't need some dumb fuck gray-haired douchebag coming in here who is so fucking full of himself that he thinks,
You're embellishing now. That's not what he said.
No, we can watch it back. We can watch it. We'll watch it back next week. It's getting a little late now. He said, we're a ragtag group of misfits. We might not get along, but we've been doing it this way for years. I think that was a direct shot at Punk. I think it was a direct shot at this is all bullshit. I mean, I've watched different clips of Eddie Kingston giving backstage, like pep talks, let's call it.
Yeah, but Eddie
we've got Daniel Bryan. We've got, Jericho. These people have been there longer. Why is it that, and maybe not Daniel Bryan, he's probably a bad example as far as being there longer, but Eddie Kingston, Chris Jericho, CM Punk comes in 2 years later. Oh, you guys listen to me now. I have a dog. His name is Larry. He will bite you.
I do like the Roddy Piper Larry the Dog T-shirt, and I might buy one.
That's fair.
It's a cool shirt.
I might buy one.
But
no, Derek, listen, I think you make some good points, pal. And here's the thing, though. I agree with what Tom has to say about the situation, though, too, because, we talked about this last week and how much better of a show Collision is. It's more put together and, maybe Punk is standing at the back door saying yes, 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 no, yes, yes. And maybe he's flexing that muscle a little bit with Tony Khan. And maybe that's why it's the tale of two companies when it comes to AEW, because Collision is such a breath of fresh air as opposed to what Dynamite has become. And don't get me wrong, Dynamite's still a good show. I don't agree with Tom in that aspect. When Dynamite is able to put together the matches that we as wrestling fans want to see with fucking straight no build and stuff like that, they do a good job with those things. But the one thing that the three of us have agreed on in the entirety of this program is that AEW lacked structure. And Saturday has that structure. So that's why Wednesday becomes so much more fun whenever we get these cold builds and these great in-ring matches. But I think the fact that Phil has so much power over Tony Khan is a negative. It's bad business. And Tony's so concerned about Punk walking out and not getting that return on investment, or having to fire Punk and then pay Punk all this money because he terminated his contract earlier. He's worried about the Phil Brooks situation. And I think that that's an unfair place for him to be when he's trying his best to run a fucking wrestling promotion.
No, he dug his own grave. No, he had to lie in it.
That's fair too. That's fair. That's fair. But but it's kind of not, because then you've got Punk that's trying to spin the narrative and say, well, I'm just trying to be a locker room leader and I'm just trying to do what's best for business. But like Derek said, he was the one all those years ago saying these gray-haired fucks need to get out of our way. And now he's the guy that's standing in everybody's way. Right, wrong, or indifferent.
No, you're not wrong. And Punk's still an asshole. Let me be clear. I'm not, this doesn't mean I want to be Phil Brooks' friend. That's not what I'm trying to say. He's a dick. He's an asshole, and I would hate him if I worked in the same place that he worked.
Well, if you shared a differing opinion, which you don't.
Not at this moment, but I'm sure things would come up. And he's not the kind of person I would want to be, because he's just clearly drama and trouble follows him. However, it's like Captain America and the Winter Soldier. It's he's out of line, but he's right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's really what it is. It's
that's
Punk's out of line, but he's right. And so just because he's right this time doesn't mean he's right all the time, but this time he's right.
So what doesn't really seem right is that this past week we learned of the passing of Wyndham Rotunda, aka Bray Wyatt, at the tender age of 36 years old, left behind a wife and 4 beautiful children, due to heart complications from a COVID exposure, is what we're being told. Sean Ross Sapp was given permission from the family to report this, and I don't think that the wrestling community could have appreciated that news coming from anybody other than SRS at this point. That's unless it would have came from Triple H directly. But I think that wrestling fans, we got 2 credible sources on 2 credible pieces of information relatively quickly, one right after the other. I think how it came was the correct order in how it came. I think Triple H had to be the one to break the news to the world, and I think SRS had to be the one to explain to the world. So obviously, the wrestling world has been torn apart this week, with AEW giving tributes and shout outs to Bray Wyatt, to Open All In, with the Fireflies all over the place. It was fucking beautiful, man. And, for WWE to go out there and have to mourn the loss of a current superstar as well as a WWE Hall of Famer on the same show. Didn't give credence to either one of those human beings. And it's unfortunate that we lost two great personalities in the wrestling business this week. And one is always unfortunately going to be overshadowed by the other in certain circles and certain conversations, as it has in this one. But I think that we focus here on One Fall WrestleCast on the Bray Wyatt situation just simply because of what he's meant to our generation of fandom, right? And the things that he's accomplished for our generation of fandom, all the way back to FCW, when the Eater of Worlds gimmick kind of started to first take shape. It's come to light today that when Bray missed all that television time, and Tom, you had alluded to this in an episode when we were talking about the creative stirrings, and I kind of aired my grievances with Bray Wyatt and as a character, and there was a couple episodes before, I believe, where you mentioned that he had open heart surgery, and it comes to find out that he did have a heart thing, and he was supposed to be wearing a heart monitor, a defibrillator, in case something like this happened, and he was not wearing it at the time, which is both disheartening and concerning, if I must say so myself. However,
devastating. Really,
it sounds to me like this could have been avoided, maybe to a point.
That's why,
So regardless of all of that, obviously the wrestling world has mourned significantly this week, and I would like to come in here and I would just like to say that I absolutely believe that Bray Wyatt will forever be one of the greatest characters in professional wrestling history. We can sit here and we can go back and forth about what his work rates were like. And I know oftentimes we've said on this show, and then the bell rang, definite ebbs and flows with Bray Wyatt as far as his in-ring work, but never short on charisma, never short on the ability to put an ass in a seat and to captivate an audience. There was no one better in the modern era as far as I'm concerned. And quite honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if WWE turned around and put him in the Hall of Fame next year. Even headline, this class in 2000, at WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. I don't think that would be short-sighted. I think that would be the ultimate tribute that they could pay to the character that was Bray Wyatt and the man that was Wyndham Rotunda by all accounts from his peers. You've seen many heartfelt tweets and Instagram videos and YouTube shorts and stuff from coworkers and friends and family talking about what a top-notch human being that Wyndham was, and that he loved nothing more than to portray Bray Wyatt for us, the fans, and that it really truly gave him joy to be who he was for us, as well as taking a lot of solace in being a top-notch human being behind the scenes, and just how important he was to those around him. So the wrestling world definitely is missing out on the greatest untapped potential in the history of untapped potential. And I hate to say it that way, but like, we've seen so much out of him that I feel like if we would have got the payoff for the Fiend the proper way, and then this Uncle Howdy and this new Bray Wyatt would have played out, it would have just been more layers to the onion of who Bray Wyatt was as a character. And nobody better as far as that piece of the business, and that being Bray Wyatt. So my question is for you gentlemen, it's like, Tom, and I'm going to start with you. What is the Bray Wyatt lasting legacy in your eyes, as a wrestling fan, as somebody that puts an ass in a seat every single week to watch wrestling television? What does Bray Wyatt's legacy mean to you?
So I thought that I always loved the beginning of a Bray Wyatt thing. That was always because, like, I felt like nobody could start a feud like Bray Wyatt could start a feud. You know, where it ended up at the end, that's not important at this point in time. But you know, nobody could start a feud like Bray Wyatt could start a feud. Nobody could start a gimmick, kind of get things off the ground, and really just all of a sudden create mass amounts of intrigue from like, all right, you got 2 minutes, start something new and go. And the next week it would be like, well, I got to see what he's going to do this week, right? And I don't think that there was really any wrestler who had the ability to kick something off as hard as he did. You know, I feel like maybe we didn't get the payoffs for everything that we should have. We definitely got some good payoffs, I think, in the long run. And a lot of things did, even particularly a lot of things that sort of started smaller, maybe like the Matt Hardy feud that he had. I thought that ended up a lot higher than where it started. Particularly, I think I shared the clip with you guys this week of when Jeff Hardy came back and Matt and Bray were like a tag team at that point in time, and Jeff Hardy comes back, and Matt and Jeff have this little exchange of like, it was deleted and stuff like that, and then like, so they have that little weird exchange, and then it flips to Bray, and he's like, "Brother Nero, I'm so glad you've come," and he gave him a hug, and it was just like that little throwback there. It was just like that pop was hilarious. And then what's even funnier is they pan over, and there's Finn Balor and Seth Rollins watching this whole weird exchange happen, and it was like, and Jeff just goes, "Meh," but I think
piece of business.
Yeah, just a great like, yeah. So it was the little things like that he was involved in, you know, that I think and he's always one of those guys that was intriguing. Like, you know, he was never boring, whether it was good or bad. It wasn't boring. You know, I think we'll remember the good, we'll remember the bad. You know, Randy Orton killed a guy, right? You know, it's still, we saw that happen. So lots of good stuff. You know, he'll be sorely missed, I think, for sure. And I would definitely be one who would like to see his Hall of Fame induction next year. And, you know, I would certainly tune in for that as well. So R.I.P. Bray, and R.I.P. Terry Funk too. But yeah, R.I.P. Bray. What a loss. 36 years old. It's terrible.
Absolutely. Derek, now I know that, like, you know, it's not going to be all rainbows and butterflies coming from you here on Bray Wyatt, but there's got to have been something that was given to you, you know, from the standpoint of what Bray Wyatt meant to the wrestling world. And what is your legacy? What does Bray Wyatt's legacy mean to you?
Well, I tell you what, I do feel bad about what you're referencing there, because I know my final comments that I would have had about him on the show were, you know, hey, it's time to shit or get off the pot. I'm kind of tired of this rambling promos that are kind of leading to nowhere, and then he was off television for a long time, and that's kind of where things stood. And whenever I saw that he had passed, that was kind of one of the things that flipped through my mind. You know, that really sucks. As far as that goes. But, you know, the big thing with him was, as Tom mentioned, the storytelling, and specifically being able to draw you in to the storytelling, and wanting more. And I think that's kind of where I come from in that aspect, is, you know, I did want more from him, and he was always one to just keep holding back, so that you're always looking for the next little crumb, next little piece of the story. He was a master storyteller, as far as that stuff went, and was really one to kind of stand up to the WWE machine and say, you know, hey, this isn't working. I've proven to you that I can do good things. I'm leaving. You totally killed my character with this Randy Orton fire shit match. You know, I'm gonna go do my own thing, and whenever I come back, it's gonna be much better. And we never did get to see that, his new vision kind of play out. But
it like started, and then he got sick, and here we are.
Yeah. But obviously we've all seen over the years the potential from a very low mid card Husky Harris to becoming the cult leader esque,
The Eater of Worlds.
yes, to eventually the Fiend, which I think will always, for me at least, be his best creation. I mean, those Firefly Funhouse segments, I would just patiently wait watching wrestling. Then you hear the song, and I don't care where I am in the house, I'm running into the living room to rewind and get this stuff. Like, oh no, I'm not missing any of this. No. But
I thought that was pretty dope how they ended the tribute show with the Fiend lights going out, and
yeah, that was a tearjerker episode, bud. That was all that sprinkled all through there. That was tough to watch.
yeah, it definitely wasn't a fun time, man. I think that far too often we get caught in the minutia of being fans and being smart fans, that sometimes we forget, man. And man, it's a goddamn shame. It really and truly is just a goddamn shame. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna roll into match of the week, and then we're gonna get the fuck out of here.
So hard to jump to a joyous thing after what we just talked about. But my match of the week was, in fact, CM Punk versus Samoa Joe. And I'm going to tell you why.
Shocking.
It's because Samoa Joe got to
played
play all the hits. Samoa Joe got to do the walk-away thing, but outside of the ring. He also caught CM Punk trying to do a Hurricane Run, and this spot actually was great. Smashed his head into the announce table. I thought that spot was great. Otherwise, Joe just kind of being dominant through the match, but CM Punk pulling it out at the end. I thought it was good. I've enjoyed this feud on Saturdays. It's been a reason to tune in and watch an AEW show on Saturday. Everybody knows I'm a big Samoa Joe fan. Everybody knows, so Samoa Joe get me to turn my eyeballs. And if he plays the hits, the Samoa Joe hits, I will certainly pop for that. So that's my match of the week. I thought it was great. Lots of other really good matches on the card, but that one sticks out to me as like they gave me exactly what I wanted. Really, the thing that I had been most following, because I thought the Saturday shows were so good, I've been watching them, so that's why it just kind of capped off the sort of like it paid me off for my viewership on Saturdays, and that's what I appreciate about it.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, Derek?
So for me, I'm actually going to go with the main event from All In. My main choice with this was the storytelling. I mean, I really wasn't sure where this was going to go. I genuinely thought after this, we're going to break up the buddy comedy, and it's going to be all over. But the ending with Roddy coming out and with pulling the interference, and now we've got that little layer added on there, even heavier now into the whole scheme of things. I'm excited to see where we go with this. And
I hope Kyle O'Reilly comes back too. I hope he's almost on his way back, because that'd be so good. Right, like that's what they need to like keep this rolling for a little while. Is some Kyle O'Reilly.
Really great. That'd be great. And they, brought it into the media scrum as well, and continued with the, I don't know, we're good, bud. You really hurt my neck there. Sorry about that. They kept it going. So I'm happy to see that going. I'm enjoying that story. It was great main event match. The thing was fucking fire. And if you got a minute, check it out.
It's like 30 minutes, but still.
I've still not watched
Well,
All
yeah.
In, and it is on my to-do list. So hopefully we will get into that here in the next couple of days, so that I can.
Hopefully by then the links are fixed, because right now they're broken. Because I'm guessing Maddie and Nikki must have called, and it's like, oh, the special website, David, it's in our no spot, and we're not getting any money from Bleacher Report. Even though they can only watch it for 72 hours if I get $60 from them. I would have given you money if you'd have just let me keep it and own it. I'm not giving you $60 and I can only watch it for 3 fucking days. I don't have time. I have kids. I have soccer. I have work. Fuck off. This is why people do unscrupulous things.
My match of the week was... My match of the week was the main event from Friday Night SmackDown. Finn Balor versus LA Knight. It was a match that I didn't know that I needed to see. I enjoyed it thoroughly. It was the Fiend's first match against Bray Wyatt's last opponent. Hey man, they got in there and they had themselves a little match. And I was glad to see LA Knight get the chance to go over, because I feel like that hasn't been happening too often. So, man, what a fucking just shitty situation.
Well, way to end it on a shit note.
Well, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get out of here. If you haven't already, please hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe. We appreciate you. Check us out over on Twitter and Instagram at @1_Fall WC. That's ONE. And I'm going to leave you with the words of one Bray Wyatt this evening. Wrestling is not a love story. It's a fairy tale for masochists, a comedy for people who criticize punchlines, a fantasy most can't understand, a spectacle no one can deny. Lines are blurred, heroes are villains. Budgets are cut, business is business. But it can also be a land where dead men walk, where honor makes you elite, where demons run for office, and rock bottom is a reason to rejoice. Woo! It's an escape, a reason to point the blame at anyone but yourself for 2 to 3 hours, an excuse to be a kid again. And nothing matters except the moment we are in. Wrestling is not a love story. It's much more. It's hope. And in a world surrounded by hate, greed, and violence, a world where closure may never come, we all know a place that has a hot and cold hope on tap, for better or for worse. And with all that being said, thanks for hanging out. It's all love. We'll catch you next week. One Fall WrestleCast.